everyone. Welcome into Vols Society Live on this Wednesday night. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vols Society lead analyst here on the Vols Society Network. Don't forget, follow us on social media, facebook.com/UT Society, youtube.com/Vols Society, and on Twitter @Society Vols. We got content galore everywhere, exclusive content on our variety of social media pages. We're doing the countdown to kickoff every day on Facebook, along with other news and notes. On Twitter, we're also doing the same thing, plus some other exclusive stuff. And then YouTube, you can watch our show each and every Wednesday night, which you're doing right now. And speaking of social media accounts, wherever you're watching us on anywhere on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, go ahead. Leave a comment in the chat room. It is officially open. Leave your comments and questions, whatever you have for us on this Wednesday night, as we are officially 15 days until the University of Tennessee Volunteers takes the field as they welcome in the Ball State Cardinals. Our founder, Brad, in the chat room saying, let's go Vols, 15 days. I'm excited about it. Like I said, we're gonna kind of break down what's going on with camp. Like I said, it's not much a whole lot going on. Hello to Demarius, watching us from Dyersburg, Tennessee. Hello to you. Welcome to Vol Society Live. Like I said, we'll kind of break down what's going on with fall camp. Like I said, Tennessee's now in that final stretch of transitioning over from fall camp into game week prep, which I'm excited about. Like I said, we'll talk about that. Kind of talking about, like I said, a little bit of Ball State and just kind of what to prepare. Yes, this is a brand new hat. Over the weekend, I went up to Pigeon Forge and Smoky Mountains in general, and went to the brand new Guy Fieri restaurant / arcade / bowling alley, kind of like a Dave & Buster's, called Downtown Flavor Town. So that's where I was over the weekend. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. Demaris says, thoughts on the AP Top 25. So the AP Top 25 was released this past week. Tennessee checks in at number 26. Just missed out on the top 25. Brad says he's glad we're not ranked. And I agree. I mean, this is, and I'm kind of glad you mentioned this, Damaris. Usually, my opinion of like the preseason top 25 is kind of a lot of just like, well, it's just where you finished last year. Plus, you got a lot of optimism and, like, now with the transfer portal and a lot of new recruits coming in, it's kind of more of, this is where we kind of think everybody's going to finish at the end of the season, which is totally not true. But, as far as Tennessee not being ranked, I'm okay with that. We'll probably end up getting ranked the next week when we get ready to take on Pittsburgh. So it wouldn't shock me for there. But, another example, like Notre Dame's at number 5. Personally, I don't think they're a top 5 program. To me, the only reason that they're ranked number 5 is because in week 1, they're taking on Ohio State, who's number 2 in the nation. And that's an ABC Saturday night football game. That's a week before the NFL. So you got a lot of football fans who's dying for some football that may not watch college football, and they look on the guide or look in the internet or whatever, and they're like, oh my goodness, Notre Dame, number 5 in the nation, and number 2, Ohio State. While a lot of our hardcore college football fans, and I believe everybody here not only is a Tennessee fan, but watches college football, kind of knows that, okay, yeah, it's probably just a red herring to a certain degree. But for somebody who doesn't follow college football so much, will watch that first week and see that, and that their eyes will open like, oh my goodness, a top 5 matchup in week 1, and probably going to be disappointed in the end. But as far as Tennessee goes, like, I'm okay with us being not ranked. Hello to my grandparents watching along. And like I said, Johnny in the house, he says, we haven't earned a top 25 ranking yet. And he just now chimed in and said, rankings shouldn't be released until week 4. I tend to agree. Like I said, this is just kind of a lot of just, it's just talk for us to do, and kind of like setting everything up for us. Thank you. This is we're trying something a little bit new. I still have my big microphone, but I'm also trying this headset for the brand new podcast coming aboard pretty soon. The good old Rocky Talk coming soon. So I'm trying some new equipment out, and hope, man, maybe not use this as much and use this, but we'll see. But like I said, welcome everybody tuning in. Um, but that's kind of my thoughts on the top 25 in general. But good question there. Uh, fall camp, like I said, kind of rounding. Brad saying, guess what, folks? Our podcast is coming next week. We record Monday and release midweek. So stay tuned for that. The Vol Society podcast, good old Rocky Talk coming up next week. All right, fall camp kind of winded down, as I mentioned. Tennessee scrimmaged on Sunday, and it was also family day at Neyland Stadium. Of course, it was close to the fans, but open for the players' families. So a lot of players got to practice, of course, being in front of their family. So you saw Taven Jackson, he took a lot of snaps along with Navy Schuler and some of, like the second and third string guys, just because, their family's there. But here's some good stuff as far as, quarterback still looking good. Hendon Hooker seems very relaxed. He seems very confident running the show, running the offense, which I'm not saying he really wasn't last year, but definitely, like I said, he knows he's QB1. He knows what the coaching staff expects of him, and now here we are getting ready. Like I said, take on Ball State. He's really controlled this offense, and I feel very confident in what Hendon Hooker's going to do. And even the backups have looked pretty decently. Like I said, Joe Milton, he knows now he is the backup quarterback, but he's had a great attitude. Really, even when he lost the starting job, he never was sour. He didn't hit the transfer portal and anything. And like I said, we like I said, he knows what he's doing now. Brad says, who else is excited about the commitment we landed this week? What a shock! Are you talking about Jordan Matthews there, and Ricky Gibson? Because I'm going to talk about them in just a moment here. But like I said, they're looking, and like I said, the quarterbacks seem very good from what I'm hearing. The running backs is kind of been the question mark, or not really a question mark, but been kind of the talk of camp. Like I said, Jabari Small has put on 15 pounds in the offseason. Seems like he's developing himself into an all SEC back from what I'm hearing. He seems to be healthy, although still kind of banging up some injuries. Same thing with Jalen Wright, and now Lynn J. Dixon has been injured. He hasn't practiced in the last couple of days, so like I said, it seems like Lynn J. Dixon now is already behind the eight ball. Not only coming into this roster just less than a week ago, or a little over a week ago, and now banged up, not even on the practice field. So it looks like Lynn J. Dixon, as far as making his debut against Ball State, is kind of up in the air, but we shall see. Brad says Jabari's looking good from what I'm hearing. Demarius says, who are the top 3 players to get on radar? What jersey numbers will kid want to wanted by midseason surprises? Okay, great question. Brad says, I'm hearing freshman Squirrel White is crushing it as a freshman. Yeah, I'm excited to see if Squirrel can take the field. 3 players to get on the radar. I like Byron Young, the defensive end. Uh, I think he's going to have a great season. Seems like he's getting some preseason hype now, but not really talked about compared to like a Hendon Hooker or Cedric Tillman or even some of the offensive talent. I think Byron Young is a all SEC defensive edge, especially, defensive edge position in the SEC is very depth. Will Anderson, is a all world player at Alabama. But I think Byron Young can kind of fit in that discussion too. Um, Jeremy Banks, it seems like obviously we know Jeremy Banks very well. I think he can have a great season. Another defensive player from in the linebacker position, great leader. Like I said, he's had a very storybook career at Tennessee. Former running back, got in trouble, got kicked off the team, come back in the fold, played, switched to defense, and it's become a very nice linebacker. I think he could be a good surprises. And then, of course, maybe as far as like jersey numbers go, look, obviously, Cedric Tillman, the wide receiver, 1,000-yard receiving season last year. Obviously, Hendon Hooker's go-to guy, very dependable. A home run threat. He can catch the deep ball. Yeah, I really like I said, I think Cedric Tillman can be in that discussion. And then like the some of the freshmen, like we mentioned, Squirrel White, I think he can get some playing time. Uh, if I would put him in the return game personally, but we shall see how it goes. Um, and then, I expect to see some of the freshman running backs, Justin William Thomas and Dylan Sampson, to probably get some playing time, especially if Lynn J. Dixon can't really go against Ball State. Because I expect to see in that Ball State game a lot of players playing in that game, and a lot of I don't want to say it as a exhibition game, but definitely kind of feels exhibition preseason light, even though it does count for things. Yeah, Hendon Hooker, definitely so. And I'm not trying to neglect Hendon Hooker. I mean, we all know he's going to be right there. And Brad said, I would think some Hendon Hooker jerseys will be seen. Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, I think you can get a Hendon Hooker jersey at the UT store now, thanks to NIL. Uh, but yeah, great question there. Trying to think of some other stuff. I know today they talked more about special teams. Mike Eckler took the podium today. You know, he didn't really. We just talked a second ago. I would love to see Squirrel White be in the return game, and he kind of briefly mentioned him, but it feels like they're going to play it safe in the return game. Maybe use Traven Flowers, who's returned punts before. Before Bayless Jones ended up becoming the main guy. The two Jimmys, Jimmy Callaway, Jimmy Holiday has been a discussion as far as in the return game goes. Maybe some of the freshmen like Dylan Sampson. I can, maybe Chaz Nimrod or Cam White, or or not Cam White, Score White or Cam Miller. One of those can probably be in there too. I'm hearing, also as far as like special teams goes in return coverage, you're not going to see a lot of starters on special teams, which kind of gets me optimistic. There's a little bit more depth now on this team. Now, obviously, injuries are going to happen, and you want to hopefully everybody have a great season and stay healthy. But somebody's going to get dinged up. Somebody's not going to play. Somebody, we already lost D Beckwith to the season. So once how is that second team, right? Can they fill those holes for that first team if a first team player goes out, and even the third string, can they help in the special teams too? But like I said, this is just kind of a lot of just thinking outside the box here, but um, quite interesting to kind of hear that today. I'm trying to think who else. Like Kelsey Pope talked this week. He took the podium one day last week. Talked about the wide receivers. Kind of I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Still the same kind of thing. Cedric Tillman, looks great. They're still trying to figure out the Brew McCoy situation. Brew McCoy is not eligible yet. Kind of what I've heard is they're waiting for USC to officially give him a release, which I thought he was kicked off the team or dismissed from the team. So I figured that wouldn't be an issue. Uh, and then also from the NCAA, which the NCAA is on their own time. So who knows? Marius says Coach Eight was pretty even tempter last season. If he goes wild and throws a headset, who will be opposing coach and why? Who will be the opposing coach and why? uh, I don't know. I mean, I figured he would have done it on Kiffin last year, to be honest. But uh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like he doesn't really have a lot of beef. Hey there, Miss K, our Vol Society mama checking in. Um, I I know Eli Drinkowitz kind of threw some shade at us in one of the interviews, so who knows? Oh yeah, South Carolina. Shane Beamer. Okay, that's a good one. I was saying Eli Drinkowitz because I know he threw some shade at us about as far as NIL goes, but that but like we don't really have like I said, Saban. I mean that would be interesting. But I don't know if they would go Saban. Same thing with Kirby. And Mary's agreeing with Brad. That's an interesting question. Get to Brad's question. He said, "Ball State game. Do we score over or under 50?" I think we go over 50. Like I said, Ball State is a decent MAC team. Of course, the MAC is always one of these crazy conferences. You get a hot team for 1 year, and then the next year it seems like they fall back to the bottom because there's a lot of coaching rotation. So you may have Northern Illinois go hot for a couple of years, then it may be Kent State for a couple of years, or whoever. But Ball State's kind of one of those uh, mid-tier, mid-American conference teams to be exact. They went to a bowl game last year, lost to Georgia State, I think in the Camilla Bowl or something. So I don't expect a whole lot from them. I think you know, I just don't expect too much. Ball State over or under 10. Right now, I got them like I think they may go over 10. I think they can probably squeeze a couple of touchdowns. But I think Tennessee will just control the game throughout the whole time. I could see maybe they get a surprising touchdown, maybe in the first quarter, but then all of a sudden Tennessee just rolls on them, and then they probably get like a garbage touchdown towards the end when we got third stringers in. So kind of one of those. Brad says he's going under 10. Okay, but I think they can definitely go over 50. Like I said, the offense seems healthy. Like I said, I expect to see a lot of guys playing. Obviously your starters are going to start, and they'll probably get some bulk of the offense. But I expect a lot of rotation, especially in the running back position. Possibly some linemen. Like I said, left tackle still not sealed up. It's still battling between J.J. Crawford and Gerald Mincey. There was some talk that they may move Darnell Wright back to left tackle and put Dane Davis in. Seems like they totally squashed those rumors. Seems like Darnell Wright is sticking at right tackle, which I'm glad, because I like Dane Davis, but Dane Davis was on the ground a lot last year and was hurt every game, and then all of a sudden, if I don't wish injury on anybody, but going with the track record from last year, and if it transitions to this year, if that does happen, then you're going to have to move Dane back to right or throw another bench player in there. So it would probably be a disaster, to be honest. So let's just see what happens in the Ball State game. I expect to see both Mincy and Crawford play at left tackle. Hendon Hooker can escape the pocket, and he's a mobile quarterback. But I don't, like I said, I don't want to see like them changing up the offensive line so much unless you just completely everybody's just banged up and hurt. Which, like I said, I hope not. Hopefully they stay healthy, and I think we got some depth at offensive line. Um, like I said, like I said, just it's going to be very interesting seeing this first game. Like I said, I'm just excited to see what they're going to roll out. Like I said, I don't expect them to go show the whole playbook, obviously, but I expect Tennessee to put up a lot of points, have a lot of guys playing, get some experience, even some young guys, kind of get their feet wet. First taste of college football, you go for, especially a lot of these high school seniors who now become college freshmen. Uh, go from playing in front of 2,000 fans to 100,000 fans, or close to 100,000 fans for Ball State. So, they're going to be jacked up, excited, going to be some nerves. That's first game jitters. Um, like I said, just kind of get their feet wet and get them comfortable with a less fearful opponent in Ball State. And then, obviously, then you go on the road the next week and take on a bigger competition in Pittsburgh. And of course, also, hopefully also Tennessee in the first game. And once we get to Ball State, we'll break it down a little bit more. But I want to see like Tennessee not make too many dumb penalties in that game. Like I said, just play keep playing. What game will be the biggest recruiting weekend? September 24th when Florida comes to town. That's definitely a big recruiting weekend. Like I said, we don't really know who's going to be in town, but obviously there'll be players. But that Florida game is going to be very amped, especially if we go to Pittsburgh, which I think we will. Go to Pittsburgh, win that game, and we're 3-0. You get Florida in town, a big rivalry game. You only beat Florida, once since 2016, and if you go even further back, we've only beat them three times since the year 2000. Um, so that's a big weekend. They're got a new head coach coming in. They're going through the first year changes, kind of like we did. I think we're a more talented team. Like I said, Florida, Georgia, Bama's our three biggest rivals. Since 2010, we're only 3-33 against them. I mean, that's the truth. I'm not afraid to say that. But get one of them big rival games and get these high school seniors to be like, you know what, this atmosphere is pretty cool. There's 100,000 fans here. This Rocky Top sounds pretty cool. They just beat Florida. I know they're an up and coming program. But I want to be a part of that. I want to come into Tennessee and beat Florida, and then challenge Georgia, and then challenge Alabama. Um, Mary says, was there last year. If we hit our stride, then would have won. Yeah, that's the main thing. There was a lot of would have, could have, should have games last year. Like I said, that Florida game was won. Definitely Pittsburgh at home, and then the Ole Miss game, which was an event of itself, and then of course the Music City Bowl. I mean, crazy to think if obviously hindsight 2020 when we played Florida last year, they were a top 15 program. And took Alabama down to the wire, and then we all saw what happened at the end. So, like, man, you just wish you can go back and play that Florida game. I think we would have rolled all over them. And then, like I said, could I possibly beat the future ACC champions at that time in Pittsburgh? And then same thing with that Music City Bowl, which that really was not a lot of fault of our own. Well, some fault of our own, but I think that's a big one. And then we've mentioned this before, Damaris. If Tennessee gets through Pittsburgh, gets through Florida, and then goes down to LSU and beats them, you're looking at 5-0, possibly ranked in the top 10, top 15. You're probably going to have an undefeated Alabama team coming into Knoxville. Possible college game day atmosphere. That could be another big recruiting weekend too. So there's a lot of hurdles Tennessee's going to have to kind of jump through to get to that, but they're manageable. Brad said Pitt had me a nervous wreck. We got to get that win. Huge game, yeah. And Pitt, they're defending ACC champions. They, like I said, they lost Kenny Pickett. He's now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Went from the Panthers to the Steelers. And then you lost the Blitnikoff winner, Jordan Addison. He went from Pittsburgh to USC. Mark Whipple, their offensive coordinator, is now at Nebraska. So there's a lot of missing pieces on that offense. Pat Narduzzi's a defensive-minded coach, but, he's really struggled with the up-tempo offense last year. So what adjustments is he going to make? Pitt's atmosphere should be good. It's, I'm not a big fan of college football programs playing in NFL stadiums, so I feel like you don't really get that good college vibe. But Pitt's probably one of the better ones that brings a better crowd to it. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's definitely a must-win game. I think it's a winnable game, but Tennessee must win that one. Brad's talked about if Tennessee goes 5-0, game day will be there, and I think so too. Like the only game I can kind of see hindering that I think USC and Utah plays that same day, but I don't think USC is going to be unless crazy things happen. I don't see them hanging in the top 10. I think Utah will be, but yeah, you got to have game day there. I mean, it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. It's going to be even more than the Ole Miss game last year. But like I said, there's a lot of Tennessee's got to do a lot of stuff to get to that, and I would love for them to get it. Obviously, I think Bama's got an easy task to get there. I mean, they go to Texas week 2, but I think Bama probably will go to Austin and win pretty easily. Any other, like I said, this has been a great discussion tonight. Everybody coming on here. Let's continue to roll along here. Throw your questions, comments along. Like I said, we are 2 weeks and 1 day away until it's football time in Tennessee. I'm excited. Like I said, this is kind of the time of the year. Brad says they can do it. The path is there for us to be 5-0. Absolutely. But yeah, like I said, this is exciting time. Like I said, high school football. There's technically tomorrow. There's high school football in the state of Tennessee gets underway. I think 16 to 17 games, and then Friday everybody gets going. And then after that, well, you got that week 0, kind of like the appetizer games of like Hawaii and Vanderbilt and Nebraska Northwestern's playing in Ireland, which I don't know why, but good for them. And then Thursday, September 1st, that's going to be big. The week of the Ball State game, we're going to have a big week here on Vols Society. Like I said, the podcast will be going. We're going to have a big supersize Vol Society live coming up. Brad said, go on the McMinn game Friday. Yes, I will be there for McMinn Central. For those who don't know, we at here on Vol Society, we are all McMinn County High School Cherokee alumni. All graduated the same year, 2004. Our founder, Brad, played for McMinn County. I was a starting bass drummer. So, and Brad was the starting center. So, like I said, and all seriousness, we do wish all of our high school football teams in the state of Tennessee, parents, band, cheerleaders, dance, best of luck this season. Stay healthy, stay safe, enjoy the Friday night lights, because you'll never get them back, and they're very enjoyable. Uh, so yeah, definitely good luck to. I think there's like 350 plus high school programs. So good luck to every one of those teams this upcoming season. Matter of fact, we got a former classmate who's now a first year head coach at Sequoia. So shout out to Derek Vessel and the Sequoia Chiefs also. All right, getting back to college football here. Trying to think of some other stuff for Tennessee. I was kind of looking at the back half of the schedule this week, kind of after Alabama. We've talked about Kentucky quite a bit, but it seems like the media is still raving about Kentucky and Will Levis, and this is going to be their year, and they're going to challenge Georgia. And we're kind of calling them overrated, to be honest with you. I think they'll be fine, but I think we got better talent than them. Like I said, what do y'all think about Kentucky? I know Brad's he's probably hitting the keyboard right now as far as Kentucky goes. That game, is in Knoxville coming up, I think, October, I'm trying to think, 29th, I believe, last week in October, right for Halloween. It's in Knoxville. Tennessee going for the revenge. Remember, Kentucky came 2 years ago during the COVID season and beat us very badly, and we all know why. And, like I said, I really think Tennessee really is the second best team in the SEC East. I think Kentucky, they're going to be good, but Will Levis threw a lot of interceptions last year, and a lot of the media is kind of picking him as a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. I don't really get it. I think we're going to handle pretty good. Kevin checking in. Hello, Kevin. He says, I think we have their number like Alabama has ours. Yeah, I think so too. And it's really not just football. It's been all sports, basketball in more recent years and baseball. Although basketball's kind of been 50-50, I mean, to be honest. But, definitely we've beat them quite a bit. But I hope we get them to. Yeah, definitely so. Also kind of look at the rest of the SEC East, South Carolina. That's going to be the next to last game of the season. It's in Columbia. So it's going to be like I've mentioned this several times, it just depends on where South Carolina is by this point. If they're fighting for a bowl game, they're going to come out very tough, obviously. But I feel I feel a little bit more confident in that game. But if they're already at 7-8 wins by this point, it's definitely going to be a tough game. Down in Columbia, South Carolina, there's been some close games in more recent years. Matter of fact, it's still one of the closest SEC continual rivalries or games every year. Like I said, I think it's going to be a tough, can be a tough matchup. Spencer Rattler, former 5-star quarterback, former 5-star quarterback, went to Oklahoma, was a preseason Heisman favorite just last season, and lost the job to Caleb Williams, and now both are not at Oklahoma anymore. Williams went to USC, Southern Cal. And then here comes Spencer Rattler in with Shane Beamer. Like I said, South Carolina had a kind of a season we had last year. overachieved a lot of expectations. I know Bradson's, already mentioned, he's not a big fan of Shane Beamer at times. I this team I think will be all right. Like I said, last year we caught him at a great time. Just absolutely steamrolled them in the first quarter. They were still going through some quarterback woes. They had the grad, uh, the graduate, not graduate transfer, but the graduate coach. He had to suit back up for a little bit, and then like Luke Doty was starting, and just kind of uh, a lot of it, you know, had a couple late comments. Yeah, Brad Wishing, our good friend Derek Vessel. Good luck this year for Sequoia. Kevin saying, I like being under the radar so we can shock the world. And my dang Alabama fans who's always talking smack. And Brad says, Shane is a guy I cannot stand. Yeah, like I said, our founder Brad's is in Charlotte. So, I mean, obviously you got ACC teams, but, South Carolina, he hears a little bit more of their stuff, even though he tries not to. But he's a little bit more hears from them compared to where I'm at in East Tennessee. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see where they're at. Brad said he's going to be at that Tennessee South Carolina game, so uh, definitely he'll bring that Vol Society coverage. That'll be our first Vol Society road game, and we've only been around for a couple of years, and last year was the first year we got to go to games, and mainly, well, I did, and went to every home game except for Vanderbilt, and brought some coverage. So Brad's going to be doing the uh, coverage on the road that week, and I will be kind of doing some of the home games here and there. Um, should be a lot of fun. Like I said, get back to the Ball State week. I forgot to mention, we're going to have big coverage that week. Like I said, the podcast will be going on. We'll have a big episode of Ball Society Live. We'll be doing, like I said, I'll be doing my tailgate Thursday, every Thursday morning, previewing kind of not necessarily the Tennessee game, but just kind of where Tennessee future opponents are and some big key SEC games. It's going to be a 5-minute little Thursday morning video, kind of, we'll call it Tailgate Thursday or something. And it's just going to be like a drive-through episode of previewing the college football weekend. And like I said, a lot of cool stuff going on. Any more comments or questions? Our viewership is great tonight. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Kevin says, did y'all hear what our coach said about our defense this year? Not exactly word for word. You may have to chime us in. Yeah, go ahead there. Tonight's drink is Milo's sweet tea in the Tennessee tumbler. Even though Milo's is an Alabama tea drink. Speaking of tea, please listen to Tea Time Crimes. Not a Vol Society sponsored podcast, but definitely it helps our founder Brad's his Mrs. Franco. Now waiting for Kevin's comment on the defense. I heard he mentioned something, but I hadn't heard what he said word for word. I'm assuming it's pretty good for the most part. Like I said, I know Ronnie Garner really has really kind of taken these defensive linemen, baptism by fire, implementing his style. And I know he talked about, I think in a press conference recently, that yeah, he's hard on his players at the beginning, but he wants them to in the future come back and bring their kids or whoever in their family and just say this man changed my life and really shape me who I am today. And that's kind of his greatest accomplishment. Like he's hard on you at the beginning, especially coaching, but you're gonna love him once you're done and really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Basically, we're going to get back to where Tennessee used to be on defense and had a conversation with an Alabama quarterback. He says we don't expect just barely getting by on defense. Interesting. And Brad says, I'll tell you this, if our defense is better than last year, we're going to be a force. Yeah. Yeah, my thing is That's yeah, and that's a good comment there, Kevin. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, like I said, I expect our defense to be a little bit better. The main question is getting off on third downs. Like I said, third down conversions on defense we struggle. Like I said, I mentioned it in the preview video. We were 122nd in the nation. Uh, it just got burned so much, especially in our secondary, and a lot of our safeties was making a lot of the tackles on us, which kind of modern college football in general. But I want to see us just get off on third downs mainly. I want to see our corners play better. I know who was it that mentioned, they moved Christian Charles from safety to corner. Uh, like I said, I think they made the transition maybe in spring practice, moved him to corner. So, like I said, you're adding depth on the corners position with Warren Burrell, Kamal Haddon, who'd been injured in fall camp, but now he's back healthy. So that's good news to hear. Trying to build depth with that. Like I said, obviously, you're going to see a lot of uh, the ball's going or the football going to the slot receivers most part, and some teams have a four receiver set and they may go with those inside receivers. So your safeties and linebackers are going to be more interacting, but definitely those one-on-one deep balls, you want to see your corners hang in there with them and make great plays and stay right with them. Uh, that's going to be interesting. Oh, Kevin's talking about him, on the podcast. Yeah. Oh, okay. Um, so yeah, like I said, just that's where I kind of want to see it. I feel confident in the defensive line. I expect more pressure on the quarterbacks this year with Byron Young and Tyler Barron. I think they're two good edge rushers. Amari Thomas, kind of going back watching some highlights from last year, he made a lot of like big plays that nobody really got to talk about. He got to the quarterback quite a bit and made some big plays in the backfield. So number 21, Amari Thomas, definitely someone to keep an eye out on. And then, like I said, our linebackers, I like Jeremy Banks. Aaron Beasley was really good. I want to see if Jawan Mitchell's healthy and kind of go from there. All right. I forgot to mention, let's see. Yeah. Talk about the podcast. All right. So Tennessee picked up a couple of commits this week. I know somebody mentioned that several minutes ago, and I've neglected it. But here's the two commits Tennessee picked up this week. Three. We'll start with three-star defensive back Ricky Gibson from Trussville, Alabama, 6 foot, 171 pounds. Uh, we were kind of expecting him to commit. He'd been trending that way, uh, trending to Tennessee for several weeks, and he finally made the commitment. He's part of the 2023 class. So nice. Like I said, it adds depth to those positions, especially in that secondary that's now growing, especially in that 2023 class. You got I'm trying to think who's on that team, who's on the recruiting class. Sylvester Smith, Ricky Gibson. Uh, Even though he's part of the 2022 class, but I'm excited to see Rodney Harrison's son be get some playing time eventually down the road. Uh, so we'll see where it goes. And then the other big player, Jordan Matthews, a four-star defensive back from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 6 foot 184 pounds. A lot of people's kind of surprised he didn't really go with the hometown LSU Tigers. It seemed like LSU was not that interested in him. And Tennessee really was obviously interested in him and committed to us. He's a four-star all across the board. Whatever you look at 24/7 Sports, ESPN, Rivals, on three, he's four-star across the board. So a nice pickup for there. I'm talking about the podcast a little bit more. So, big pickups for Tennessee in the class of 23 that's growing leaps and bounds, led by Nico. And you got Ethan Davis and Jack Luttrell. That's another secondary player, Trevor Duncan, uh, so on and so forth. And just uh, excited to see what that future class is going to do. And like I said, they'll be starting high school football. I don't know. I know they're all in various states. So here in the next couple of weeks. Um, so yeah, excited about that. Any others? This has been very great tonight. Hopefully it sounds good tonight through the headset too. Uh, bu- 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 Brad says, "Do you see the latest Nico video of a game in Hawaii this week?" I have not. I need to go check that out. Mary says, "Will Spurrier be at Neyland in a box on September 24th?" It wouldn't shock me if the old ball coach would be there, as long as Peyton's not there. We love Peyton, but he's kind of bad luck when it comes to these big games. And maybe he can do a Manning cast. I don't know. But it would shock me. I mean, I'm sure. I'm surprised we haven't heard from Spurrier about the golf balls or the mustard bottles. To be honest, and Demarius agreed with me. Yeah, um, yeah. I'm kind of surprised we haven't heard from the old ball coach. I guess he's just kind of keeping quiet. But I'm sure he would. I'm sure he's probably got a few jabs at us. It seems like his son, not Steve Spurrier Jr., but Lane Kiffin's kind of taking that role of the pot stirrer, if you will. Any others? I mean, that's going to be an epic game on September 24th with Florida. I'm excited about that. Like I said, we got a lot of interesting home games. Obviously, I mean, Florida and Bama's on the home schedule for this year since it's an even season. You get Kentucky coming in. Kentucky, is going to be probably in the top 25 at that point, unless they just stumble and fall down and out of the top 25. Missouri, which is on my birthday, November 12th, I will definitely be there for that. I don't, just it's kind of up in the air to see how they're going to do. And then, you got your cupcake games, Ball State, Akron, and UT Martin to kind of round out the schedule. UT Martin, I believe they announced that's homecoming this year. And Brad said this season's going to be so fun, and hope y'all stay tuned to Vol Society. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Like I said, like I said, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. Follow us all across our social media pages, crawling across the screen right now. Like I said, doing the countdown to kickoff. Well, also on Twitter too, on Facebook and Twitter. We're at 15 today. Posted Jawan Jennings picture, and then I added a few more on Facebook today. And like I said, we're going to bring a lot of coverage for college football this season. A lot of great Tennessee coverage. Like I said, with game previews and podcasts and a lot of other cool stuff. Kevin says, "I actually look forward to this every Wednesday." Well, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Like I said, yeah, maybe Barstool Sports will make me go viral. Speaking of video reactions, for our founder Brad, are you going to be doing any more reactions? We got a little, that's kind of what launched Vol Society a little bit. We have to get, the missus. See if she can break out the camera again. But yeah, that really means a lot, Kevin. Getting back to you, I mean that, like I said, it's. I'm just like I said, sitting here in my house and uh, just kind of talking Tennessee football to the World Wide Web and people that tunes in. We're just happy somebody at least watches, and you never know who show up. We've had the chancellor at the University of Tennessee join us a couple of times, and various celebrities from Tony Bastillo's show. Brad knows what I'm talking about. Brad says definitely the wife will have the camera ready. That's awesome. Can't wait. Should be a lot of fun on that. Haven't heard from our little pal there, Brad. Hadn't chimed in yet. Sure he's around. Um, but yeah, like I said, this has been a lot of fun tonight. Um, like I said, we'll still roll along this every Wednesday, and then like I said, big episode for Vol Society Live the week of the Ball State game. Uh, we'll be breaking down the Cardinals, the fighting David Lettermans, if you will. Like I said, what since I got a few minutes here, turn back over to the chat room. What's y'all's record prediction? Brad's going with double digits. He's kind of in that Roman Harper camp. Andy Bowser, where are you at? Yeah, I can't remember what his name was there for a second. Brad, our founder Brad, is going 10-2. He's kind of in the Roman Harper camp. I don't know. Like I said, he thinks double. Like I said, South Carolina is still kind of a toss up with me because I really don't know what to expect when we get to that game since it's so late in the season. No, I mean, like I said, thankfully we kind of have in most years an easy November schedule. It's Missouri, Vandy, and Kentucky, kind of the bottom feeders of the SEC, even though Kentucky's been more strong. It's a lot easier to say win, 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 win. And even we have homecoming that month. Brad says, I can see 10 wins. Likely is 9, but I can see a path for 10. Damien, Mary says, I'm too superstitious. Jinx us if we say high win count. Yeah, it can be very interesting. Brad says, call me crazy, but I could see a crazy game with Georgia folks. We could win that game. I mean, crazy things have happened. Any given Saturday, anybody, I said anybody can win. Like I said, 2 years ago, we had a lead at halftime, and that kind of fell apart. But, it could be an interesting matchup. I just want to see. Obviously, we'll learn a lot about both of these teams when we get to this point. Like I said, Georgia's got a lot of pressure on them. Obviously, being the defending champions, they're preseason top 3. They get Oregon week 1, which I think they'll roll all over the Ducks in that one. But they got some hurdles along the way. Yeah, they lost a bunch. They lost a bunch on defense. A lot of guys now playing on Sundays. So they're going to be filling some holes. They're still a very talented team. Kirby Smart can recruit for them. I mean, Stedman Bailey's back at quarterback for them. Yeah, and Justin, welcome in, Justin. He says, all we need is 4 seconds. Yeah. How appropriate on Jawan Jennings Day. Yeah, and Georgia did have a wide receiver that went to Alabama. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I would have probably stuck with Georgia unless he got some NIL deal. I don't know. It's quite interesting there. Yeah, I like I said, it could be an interesting game. Like I said, we'll see where both teams are by this point. Any others? Like I said, your record predictions, or maybe can Tennessee knock down one of the big 3? Obviously, we think unanimously, kind of think Florida is going to be that one of the big 3 that does Tennessee gets the win for. Alabama can be, it could be interesting. I mean, they got a lot of talent on that Alabama team. I mean, between defending Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young and then Will Anderson on the defense, and they get, like I said, they got a lot. Excuse me. Brett says, I know one thing. And Barry says, a few cocktail versus give me all the liquor season. Yeah, exactly. Oh, he says, Brad says, I know one thing, ... I can't wait until it's football time in Tennessee. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, 15 days away. It's crazy to think, when we started doing the countdown to kickoff, it felt like yesterday was just 100 days. And now here we are, 2 weeks away. I mean, it's unreal. It's here. I mean, it's been a long off season. Yeah, in your high John Ward voice, yeah. Football time in Tennessee. Brad does it better than I do. Yeah, I mentioned John Ward. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We've been talking for months about recruits and practices, and that Purdue game last December, and now here we are about to start a new season. And like it's been a long off season, a lot of talking points, and Tennessee being in the news as far as good and not really bad, but it's controversial in certain areas. Adding Nico and a lot of the recruits, and now here we are, like I said, about to tee it off again. yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen there. Any others? Looking at y'all's reactions here. Like I said, I'm going to thank our Facebook people who liked our videos: Doug and Sharon and Lisa, Jason, Eddie, uh, my uncle Tim, Kevin, and of course Brad, Timothy, Tommy. Thank you very much, and my dad. Thank you for the reactions. Miss K playing Little Rocky Top on the piano. Rocky Top, you always be home sweet home to me. Absolutely. Let's see. Really off season 2. Awesome basketball base. Awesome basketball and awesome baseball. Really awesome for UTK. Yeah, the sports in general has just been great. Danny White has done a phenomenal job. Any new rules we should know about? I hadn't really read about any changes with replay review. I have not looked that up honestly. There, Damaris. I can't think of anything significant. I mean, like, honestly hadn't really. I have to do some more research on that one. I apologize, I don't have the answer right now, but no, I don't think nothing major um, that I can think of. I know usually during SEC media days, they always have Steve Shaw or whoever's the SEC head of officiating usually does like a seminar as far as what the new rules are and what the officials are looking up or try to look up. Brad said, "Yeah, we will review and let you know next week." But I didn't get to see that seminar. I know they usually during SEC media days, like it's either Steve Shaw or uh, I don't think John McDavid now is doing it. Or I don't know who the head of official is. They changed that around quite a bit. Uh, Seems like we're always getting in the situation where someone in the booth is up there googling answers. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean our SEC officials are, man, they've definitely took a step back in more recent years. Um, Michael Warren says hashtag beat Florida, go Vols. Thank you for joining us, Michael. Absolutely. Uh, like I said, we will definitely could beat Florida. Um, I'm excited about that game. Like I said, we'll find out a lot about Florida. I mean, their first 2 games of the season is Utah and or first 2 out of their 3 games is Utah and Kentucky, and then they got South Florida kind of squeezed in there too. Which South Florida is not really a pushover opponent themselves, so you know I don't expect them to go 0-3 in that, but if Florida can somehow squeeze 2 wins out of those first 3 games with Utah, South Florida, and Kentucky, you know, they look pretty good. Miss K says, it's great to be a Tennessee Volunteer. I said it's great to be a Tennessee Volunteer. Absolutely. We got the breaking out the cheers and the singing. Of course, Miss K knows a lot about singing. And Brad says, let's go. Absolutely. Looking at some of y'all's reactions. I think we said thank you to everybody. Uh, Michael agreeing with Brad. Yes, sir. Yeah, like I said, I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but yeah, it's an exciting time of the year. Like I said, we're uh coming up. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the summer. So, but so these are kind of the end of the days of summer, even though on the calendar is really September 21st. Like I said, we're excited about football season here. I know a lot of people excited about the fall and Halloween and you know pumpkin spice lattes at Starbucks and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm excited for the brown ball to get kicked off. Brad says, "You got my shirt on too." Yeah, there's we have the Vol Society shirts. Man, let me tilt this down. There we go. Vol Society established 2020. It's not just a game; it's a life. Those will be coming out pretty soon. So if you're interested in that, hook us up. I gotta give somebody a shirt too. That I promised for a while now. Kay says, "Go Big Orange." Brad says, "Let's be real, fall. Let's be real. Fall is the best time of the year. I love fall. like I said, I'm not really a big cold weather fan because I know winter's kind of coming and that. But fall is very nice. Like I said, very comfortable. You got football. You got the leaves changing. A lot of the ambiances of autumn. And like I said, football's just gonna be good. Justin says this is going to be an exciting season. I think so. Uh, should be a lot of fun, a lot of optimism. Like I said, just uh, the schedule is plays very well for us. It's just going to have to go out there and execute it. Especially, I want Tennessee to go 4-0 in the month of September and continue to progress. Like I said, the excitement is being built for the first time in forever. Brett says going to be amazing. Like I said, I haven't been this excited for a season probably since 2016. And then if you even want to go further back, actually probably more excited about this season I was in 2016. Probably even going back to like 2005, which I know that season was a disappointment. But and Brad says our schedule couldn't be any better. Yeah. I know somebody on VolQuest was kind of disappointed having that bye week October 1st. I actually disagree. I know having an early bye week kind of puts a halt to building a momentum, but if you go into that Florida game, you beat Florida, then you got an extra week. There's Andy says go big orange and other stuff. Uh, like so welcome in Andy again. But you look at going in the bye week. Uh, like I said, you get the Florida game out of the way, you get the win. You got a week to celebrate that Florida win because let's be honest, we haven't beat them in for a long time. Well, 2016. And then you have an extra week to prepare for LSU. So you're not just going from a high of the Florida win going straight into the toughest college football stadium in the nation. You have an extra week to prepare. So I think it sets up perfectly for us. And Justin agreeing with Andy, and then Brad chiming in on Andy. Uh, so like I said, the to me that bye week kind of fits perfectly if everything comes together. Now, like I said, you got LSU and Alabama back to back right after that bye week, and probably going to be there'll be a lot of drinking of whatever going through this couple of weeks. But then you squeeze that homecoming game with UT Martin, get a break from that SEC gauntlet, and then go straight into late October into Halloween with Kentucky coming into town. And then, matter of fact, I think we got like three. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. We got like three home games in a row after with Kentucky through Missouri. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that. I don't know. Anyways, I know I had the schedule memorized and just drew a blank. Anyways, I know we got kind of we have a lot of home games obviously in September. But I think kind of that late in October into November, there's like 2 or 3 right there, and then we finish the season back to back on the road at South Carolina and Vanderbilt, which South Carolina is going to be tough, but Vanderbilt, let's just be honest, it's an extra home game for us. It's just our west home, if you will, in Nashville. It's going to be 95% Tennessee fans there, and the 5 Vanderbilt fans that bought season tickets. Remember when they had Kentucky being second in the East this year? Comical. I know it. Yep, this is the magazine right here. The Lindy's, which I don't agree with. I have both Lindy's and Athlon. Athlon I like better. Yep. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, this is not a smart idea. Yeah. If you can see that does say Kentucky second, Tennessee third. What I think about this, as I just knocked down my Neyland Stadium. Neyland Stadium picture. Good job, David. That's what happens when you're trying to pull a stunt live on Facebook here. I guarantee we beat Kentucky. Yeah, absolutely. Kevin says, I wish we would go back to the black helmets with black jerseys. with big orange T on it. That may happen. It may happen. I think when I done that, just made my room darker. But yeah, I'm excited about this. Like I said, the season. Yeah, like I said, just I think we can beat Kentucky. We've kind of broke down everything. Brad says I'll be wearing my black jersey. Love that jersey. It's a really nice jersey. Um, like I said, I know people. I know you have a lot of traditional fans with the orange and white, and we're gonna wear orange and white a lot of times. It's not just going to be the white jerseys every time, but breaking them out for special games, that's going to be nice. Maybe for Kentucky, maybe for Florida. Uh, I don't see them doing that for Alabama. They want to keep the tradition with that. Um, that'd be cool. I don't know. Missouri wears black and gold, so I don't know if they'll do it for Missouri. That'd be kind of funny to see that. But um, oh, Kevin saying Brad, yeah, yes, I like it. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, any others? We have went 1 hour tonight. It has flown by. It says it's amazing. Ha ha! Flat jerseys are so intimidating. Yeah, absolutely. Um, anything else? Like I said, now I'm excited to see what uniform combinations we can come up with this year. I could see maybe something new coming on board. Justin says black jerseys against Alabama would be awesome. It would be. It'd be interesting. I mean, like I said, I know they want to keep the tradition with the uniforms of that game, but it'd be a nice change. I mean, who knows? Maybe like I said, with the possibility of game day being there, a checker kneeling, the black jerseys, kind of similar. Well, we didn't wear the black jerseys with Ole Miss, but something similar to that, just kind of throwing out all the gimmicks, if you will. But college football now, kids like that. They like the uniforms, different type of uniforms, and the pageantry and tradition still there. It's just it's just kind of involved over the decades, and kind of changed with the times and everything. And even with the renovations at Neyland Stadium, it's changed. And Bryce says yes, sir. Um, Yeah, okay. Brad says podcast coming next week. Hope you guys listen and subscribe to us. So the podcast will be our founder Brad, uh, the other David, and myself. Will be on there with some guests and whatever else that's coming next week. Uh, like I said, it's kind of we're like I said, expanding on our Vol Society uh, podcast and so our Vol Society network in general. You'll still have the Wednesday night show. You're going to have the Tailgate Thursday drive-through show. Uh, you previewing the college football weekend. Mainly going to be SEC teams, but kind of previewing just like who Tennessee will face down the road, stuff like that. Oh, Bryson mostly. Um, like I said, this has been a great show. We have gone 1 hour and 4 minutes tonight. Like I said, like I said, tomorrow will be 2 weeks until it's football time in Tennessee. Uh, been a lot of fun tonight. Brad says mostly drinking coffee and talking about the football game for the week and different topics. I like it. Yeah, like I said, good old Rocky Talk. That's the official name of it from the Vol Society, official Vol Society podcast. The first one and the original one. I don't really consider this much of a podcast. It's just a live stream. But like I said, this has been a lot of fun. Like I said, talking to each and every one of you every Wednesday night, interacting on the Facebook page and uh, different social media accounts and reaching out and shout out to Smoky Mountain Club reaching out to us in one of the official NIL deals. Or matter of fact, I think the official NIL deal of Tennessee Athletics. Uh, we've been grateful to meet some VFLs throughout the couple of years. Eric Ainge giving us a follow. Troy Fleming, we met him. I can't remember what game I met him before. We met him for a Tennessee football game. he refollowed or follows us. We met Heath Schuler last year. I met him right before a Vol walk, and he retweeted us. And Peerless Price retweeted us. Uh, as far as the countdown to kickoff goes. So Vol Society is growing leaps and bounds, and it's for y'all. Like I said, this has just kind of been a dream come true for us. Just we started small and kind of growing, and hope continue to grow, and everything else. Thank you, Damaris. Keep it real from the West Side. Thank you, Go Vols. Thank you, sir. Kevin says I'm gonna change my profile picture with old Smokey on Facebook. Getting ready. That's great. Great to hear. And yeah, like I said, Brad says great conversations tonight. See you next week. And Go Vols and Go Vol Societies as our founders signing off. I'm going to go ahead and start winding it down. Thank you for everybody. This has been a great episode, great conversations. Hopefully it sounds good with the new headset. If not, I guess we'll talk in soup cans next week, whatever. But 15 days. And like I said, just continue to support us on Vol Society. Follow our social media pages. And we'll be back here next Wednesday night talking some more Tennessee football. I think Brad said it sounds great on it. Sounds really good. Thank you. And like I said, week of the Ball State game, we got a lot of content coming up that week. Big supersized episode of Vol Society Live. Even on game day, we're going to have that September 1st. Going to be a lot of fun too. Support high school football. If if you live near a high school football field, go out and support these young people. Support these communities. They're the fabric of America. So, like I said, I'm going to go support my high school this week. Mary says Dyersburg Region UT Knoxville Alumni Chapter. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Like I said, our founder Brad's a UT alumni himself. Love having alumni. Love having college football fans. I thank you for following us, Damaris, and thank you for your conversations tonight. You've been a great support. Like I said, got a lot of talk about coming up next week. We're going to wind it down. I'm going to say goodnight and go Vols, and we'll talk to y'all next Wednesday night on Vol Society Live.